Started in 1997, so 28 years ago. I started an ITF style, so I was with an organisation called the TAGB, which is sort of like kickboxing, it's a lot of points. It was my dad, he was like, oh, we're going to go to Taekwondo, and I can remember I was like practising these flying kicks like on my mattress before going. Like my dream, like I can remember I was like 9 years of age, I can remember writing, I'm going to go to the Olympics.
From that win in London then, you got funding, you managed to go to the Olympics. Tell me about that.
I had 3 years to train and qualify for the Paralympic Games in Tokyo. Yeah, I was ranked #1 in the world going into Tokyo, so in order to qualify you have to be the top 6 in the world. And then unfortunately it didn't go the way that I wanted it to go.
On this episode of the Elite Podcast, I speak to Amy Truesdale, MBE, 4 times European champion, 3 times world champion and Paralympic champion 2024 in Taekwondo. Amy, how you doing?
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, thank you for coming down. Lovely to meet you.
And you, thanks for having me.
You're welcome. I've heard a load about you from a good friend of mine, Damon, and I've been following you on social media for a little bit as well. So I really appreciate you coming down today.
Thank you for having me.
So you come from Manchester?
Yeah, I come from Manchester, yeah.
Brilliant. So yeah, it'd be great to get into a little bit about your backstory. You've got a really interesting story and you've some amazing accomplishments as well. Do you want to tell us some of your achievements?
Yeah, so currently I'm European, World and Paralympic champion, so I hold all those titles at the moment. I've been 3 times world champion and I got a bronze medal in Tokyo as well. So yeah, I've achieved quite a bit.
Amazing. So how did it all start then? How did you get into martial arts?
So I started in 1997, so 28 years ago I started the martial art. I started an ITF style, so I was with an organisation called the TAGB, which is sort of like kickboxing, it's a lot of points. The reason why I started was it was my parents. They just thought it'd be a really good idea to get me into a martial art just to learn self-defence, keep me out of trouble. And having 2 daughters, they didn't particularly think that the world was a safe place, so they wanted us to have like a life skill. So that's why I started.
Brilliant. So, and what age was you then in 97?
I was 8 years of age.
8 years of age.
Yeah.
That's a good age to start, isn't it? Yeah, they do now. I think that was about as young as you could probably start back then, wasn't it? There's all sorts of like pre-martial arts programs now though, isn't there?
Yeah, I think when I started, the youngest was 6.
Yeah.
But like now I know clubs that take kids on at like 18 months of age. So
Wow.
yeah, it's really different nowadays.
Yeah. And how did that go then? How did you like it straight away or did it take you a bit of time to get the bug?
Yeah, straight away. So it was my dad, he was like, oh, we're going to go to Taekwondo. And I can remember I was like practicing these flying kicks like on my mattress before going because I used to watch like Bruce Lee movies as a kid. So I was like super excited. Went to my first class because I used to do ballet dancing. I was super flexible, so I was really good at the kicks already. And I just knew straight away that I was going to have a long career within Taekwondo.
Brilliant. And what club was that? Who was that with?
So I'm originally from Chester, so it was actually in Chester. So that was the club that I used to go to.
Brilliant. So with the TAGB, what was the format with that? Is that more traditional or less traditional? Is there loads of forms? Is it more sparring or a bit of both?
It's very traditional. So you do everything. You do the step sparring, free sparring, you do a lot of patterns. There's like theory work to go with it. So I went through the whole grading system and then fought competitively for them as well.
Brilliant. And then, so how did you get on? Because obviously you've only got one full arm, haven't you?
Yeah.
So how did that affect you with your training or everything, or with your forms and your sparring?
For me, it didn't affect me at all. Like when I went to the classes, I just did exactly the same as everybody else. So when I used to compete, so like in THB, I'm like multiple world champion as well. And that was just against non-disabled athletes because there was nobody else.
Amazing.
So the only sort of adaptions that I can remember having within a session, like your first Taekwondo belt, you go for your yellow stripe, you have to perform 10 press-ups. So I can do that now. But as a kid, they'd give me like an extra pad just to like level me out so I was even. But apart from that, I just got stuck in with everyone else and I still used to punch with both hands to the face. So yeah, I just did the same as everyone else really.
That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Brilliant. Well done. So how do you do press-ups and how do you keep your guard up and stuff, just like out of interest?
Yeah, the press-ups are just like, obviously because my arm's probably like 12, 13 inches shorter than the other one.
Yeah.
I am a bit wonky, so I can get like a square bit of foam or like a kick shield just to level me out so it's a little bit higher. That's what I would have done. And then my guard, I'd just try and like lift it up as I would usually. But as you know, like your footwork's obviously a lot better than blocking, so you just need to practice that as well.
Yeah. TAGB do punch more, don't they, than WTF?
Yeah.
Or WT, is it?
Yeah, they do. It's probably like a lot of front leg, and once you drop the leg, you'd go in.
Yeah.
They'd call it like a blitz, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
So you'd go in with multiple punches.
Similar to points fighting, that is.
Yeah.
But it's continuous, isn't it, TAGB?
They do both, yeah.
They do both. They do points as well then,
yeah. Points as well,
so it's very similar. The blitz is and a style. It is as close probably to points fighting and kickboxing than anything else, I'd say. So was that a big switch from when you went from TAGB to WT? How did that happen?
So basically, I'd done TAGB for about 22 years. So I got to like 5th degree black belt, and then I qualified to be an instructor. And then it got to the point was I thought I've achieved everything what I can within my career, being like multiple world champion. I'd got International Fighter of the Year. I was best in black belt grading, and there was nothing really left for me to achieve with that organisation. And I thought I still want to compete competitively. So then the next step for me was to transfer over to Olympic style Taekwondo. I then transferred over. I was doing both at the same time. And then it was 2006 that I got my 1st degree black belt in WT. So then again, I'd gone through another traditional grading system, did all the separate pumps A instead of patterns in that style. And then I started competing with the WT.
Brilliant. Is that part of the qualification in order to go forwards for like the Olympic Games? The Paralympic Games, is that you must have a black belt within that, or do they do kind of a crossover?
If you're a professional athlete, at the time I wasn't on the world class program, but you are sort of awarded a black belt. But me being me, I like doing it traditionally, and I like learning a bit more about the martial arts. So I went through the actual grading system. Did
you do like the fighting chance thing then as well? Was that something different? Because I know that there was Damon and a few of the lads I know converted from their own martial arts over to WT with the fighting chance. Was that what you did?
So no, I didn't do fighting chance. At first I was just doing, again, Olympic style. So there was no para category during the time I started WT. So I was just fighting Olympic style, really. I didn't get to a high level. I got like to British national champion in minus 73s.
In the able-bodied?
Yeah.
Wow, that's did you not even, was your intention at that time not even to go for Paralympics or anything like that? Or did you thought about that?
Like my dream, like I can remember I was like 9 years of age. I can remember writing, I'm going to go to the Olympics. But at the time, like, you know, that was just a dream. And I didn't think I'd ever get the opportunity. But yeah, I was presented the opportunity. It was 2009 to actually go down the Paralympic route, which for me was quite strange because I'd never really fought against anybody with the same disability as myself. So that was like a new opportunity to me. So when I received the invitation, it was an invitation to say that I was invited to a special games or a special championships. So when I read the invitation, I didn't particularly like the terminology, and I was like, I'm not going.
Why is that?
Because I suppose I'd never really categorised myself, even though, obviously I am a female with a disability. I suppose I didn't label myself like that. So when I read it, I was like, But then I took the invitation home, and then on reflection, I thought this is like an amazing opportunity for me to meet other athletes from different countries who've got the same arm as myself. So then I thought, do you know what? I'm actually going to try this Paralympic competition. My first one was 2009. So that's when I sort of left Olympic style and then focused more just on para taekwondo.
Brilliant. Were you able to do that like in a professional level? No, I know it's not professional, it's amateur, isn't it? But we're in a paid fashion, like they do with the Olympians.
During that time, no. So from 2009, I was like working in retail. I was doing after school clubs, teaching kids taekwondo. I was trying to find the time to train and fund myself. I was a self-funded athlete from 2009 up until 2017, and then 2017 it was a big turning point for me within my career.
Yeah, because that was the point where you then went to the Paralympics.
So 2017, I competed in the World Championships. It was the Para World Championships.
Okay, so that was first then, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that was in London. I became world champion, and that medal sort of like cemented a Paralympic program. So UK Sport, who fund the athletes, basically said this girl's a medal potential for Tokyo. And then funding was released for a world-class program, which meant I was a full-time athlete. My coach was now full-time, and then it created opportunities for other Paralympic athletes. So that's probably quite a special moment within my career, because I wasn't self-funding. I wasn't running up and down the country. I was then a full-time athlete after that point.
Was you the first one then?
Yeah.
And that really opened the door and created a bit of a legacy then?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so I was like on my own for probably a year as a para athlete. So prior to me going to the World Championships, I was going into the GB National Centre 3 days a week, just because I wanted to get myself familiar with the environment and the training load. So it's like I integrated myself into it just to get used to it before going full time. So that was really beneficial for me as well.
Is that in Manchester?
Yeah.
Do you train with the able-bodied fighters as well?
Yeah, so we all train together. There is separate groups, however, we are integrated. So I do go in the Olympic Girls sessions as well.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So yeah, self-funded athlete, I know all about that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's hard going. Why do we do it? You pay all that money to travel and win a trophy. But it's crazy, and I bet you're glad you did do it, because it obviously took you to where you were. And then from that win in London, then you got funding. You managed to go to the Olympics. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so basically I got funding, so then I had 3 years to train and qualify for the Paralympic Games in Tokyo, which I did. So yeah, I was ranked number 1 in the world going into Tokyo. So in order to qualify, you have to be the top 6 in the world. Yeah, I went to Tokyo, and then unfortunately it didn't go the way that I wanted it to go. Physically, I was probably in the best shape I've ever been in. Mentally, I thought I was really good going into it, but I actually wasn't at all mentally. I really struggled. So I ended up getting a bronze medal, which is still a big achievement for my first Paralympic Games. But yeah, it was soul destroying for me.
How did you struggle, if you don't mind me asking? So you thought you were in good mental state.
Yeah.
But what made it unravel and realise that you weren't then?
I was so focused on everything that was not in my control. So that was definitely what took me away from my goal.
In what way? Were things going wrong on the day? And
No, everything was perfect.
Yeah.
It's just I got far too in my own head. Like I should have known better, really. A lot of people trying to advise me before, but I think once you go down that path, it's quite hard to get out of it. Like obviously in Taekwondo, there's so many variables that can, happen. You've got referee's decision, you've got the draws, you've got the electronic system. And like, I know I cannot control any of that, but I let that consume me on the day. And yeah, so then I paid the price for it, which was going into a bronze medal match, which was a shame.
It's still a bronze at the Olympics though, isn't it? You gotta,
It is.
And did you learn from that? Were you able to then use that to catapult you to go on to other things?
100%. After that day, like nobody seen me for like 5-6 weeks afterwards. Like I was
licking your wounds, were you a little bit?
Yeah, I was in a bad way. But for me, it's like I knew how capable I was, and I knew my journey wasn't over within the sport, and my goal was always to be Paralympic champion. So that fueled me to go to the next games and qualify for Paris.
And then what happened there?
So qualified for Paris. Went into it, world champion, European champion. And then had the best day of my life, best performances, and became Paralympic champion.
There you go. So there's a success story at the end. You don't realise here when you're on the journey though, when you get these failures, how much they hurt when you're an athlete. People don't understand, do they? You hold yourself to such high account, and you put so much into it. That was like 3 years of preparation you did. And I said, obviously a bronze is great, but that's not what you're turning up for, is it? That's not your mindset. And you think, waste of time, waste of all that. I'm sure that was all going through your head, but it wasn't, was it? Because it was preparation that you built upon, you learned from, and then you were able to springboard that and get the gold in the end. So you ended up ultimately winning. Yeah,
definitely. But yeah, it was a big lesson learned, because it was literally all mindset, because I think my Taekwondo didn't massively improve from that. It was just my mental state. So that was what I needed to work on.
Tell me about that then. I'm interested about that.
I just think for me, like I am painfully hard on myself. So it was like an area that I needed to work on. So yeah, that's what I spent doing for 3 years.
Do you think being too hard on yourself didn't help you?
I think short term, yes, it helps. It definitely helps because it's like you push yourself. And I think certain things in life, it does help you to be that hard because it's like you're proving yourself, you're proving other people. But I think long term, it can have a bit of a detrimental effect on you because then you can be very hard in other areas of your life, which isn't always good.
No, yeah. Well, that's really interesting to hear. And you mentioned earlier something about, when you made the decision to go down the Paralympian kind of route rather than the able-bodied, which you were doing really well at previously with TAGB, etc. And you said about meeting other people with similar disabilities. So how are they categorised? And then how was that meeting other people?
So the classification process in all parasports is very complex.
Yeah.
I'd hate to do it as a job. So basically, it's whether you're a bilateral or unilateral athlete. So if you've got one arm, two arms missing, you will go through a classification process which will test your range of movement, your strength. So the classifiers would do it. For Tokyo, the athletes included within my classification could have also had MS or CP.
Within your section as well?
Yeah.
As well as an arm? Or
yeah.
Do they, is that so everyone had just one arm in your section as well?
It varies.
So some had two?
Yeah, so in Tokyo, I fought two girls who had full limbs and the same for Paris, but they still classify. So their range of movement, so for example, their arm might go there, they can't fully lift it. So yeah, that's the classification process. It changed for Paris. So athletes who had MS or CP were taken out of that classification, and then it was just like the limb difference athletes. But yeah, the classification is quite complex.
A controversial thing to say, but I've heard from a couple of people about what's the best way to put it? Like not cheating on the Paralympics, but people pushing things a little bit more and claiming that they're not as bad as they might well be. What's your experience in that? Is that wrong, or would you say that was?
It's really difficult to say because obviously not everything is visible. So I don't know what somebody's experiencing. I'm sure there is some athletes who genuinely have got issues, but if they don't physically present like that, it's quite hard to tell, isn't it? But that's obviously why there's professionals and classifiers to go through that assessment. Yeah.
So no then. So what was it like meeting other girls like exactly the same situation as you? Was that quite cathartic and an enjoyable experience, or did it make no difference? Is it just like
I think for me, it's a bit strange, really, because I just thought I'm the only person ever. So it's this is quite interesting, really. So yeah, it was a different experience for me.
Make any friends there?
For me, it's if you're in my category or my division, I don't like you and I'm not having a conversation with you. That's just how I am. Athletes in different divisions, I quite like them and I'll support them. But if they're in my division, no.
Oh, fair one then. Unless it's in the after party afterwards and you've won.
No.
You're still not speaking to them anyway. Brilliant. So what are you doing with yourself now then? When was the last time you competed?
I competed, was it a few weeks ago, last month? So we did the British Open. That was in Manchester. I decided to compete. I don't think, again, I mentally just thought, I was nervous going into it because it was my first competition after Paris. I have been training, but not to the same level that I have been. So I got gold, which was really good. And my next competition will probably be July. So I think I'll do a training camp and a competition in Korea. And then my World Championships will be in October, but the date and venue's not confirmed yet.
I'm still busy then?
Yeah, so I'll probably hit 2 more competitions this year.
Are you doing that in a full-time capacity, or is that more of a part-time now?
So I will be going back into full-time training,
At Manchester?
Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So when's the camp for that start then, did you say?
It's not all confirmed yet. It will be July. So I'll be back as of next week. I'll be back.
Brilliant.
In it. Yeah.
And with all the team GB, is the same coaches, or have you got a specific coach or what?
Yes, there's a specific para coach. I'll be working alongside him. And then we'll be mixed in and integrated with the Olympic girls. So there'll be different coaches coaching different sessions as well.
So is there any other Paralympic Great Britain squad members?
Yeah, we've got 4 athletes all together.
Brilliant. You want to give them a call out? Who are
Yeah, we've got Matt Bush, we've got Joe Lane, and we've got Beth Munro. So
brilliant. And how are these guys getting on? How are they
yeah,
doing?
they're doing really well. Matt also got gold in the Paralympic Games. Beth got silver, not in the last games, in the games before in Tokyo. And Joe's got European and world medals.
Brilliant. So they're all medalists.
Yeah,
then.
we're
Strong
all doing
team.
really well. Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. So what's the Paralympics like? You know, as an event, was you surprised? Were you made up by it, or was you disappointed? What was it like? Do you think it gets enough attention, or do you think it gets too much attention? What's your thoughts on that?
I think the Paralympic Games itself, it's massively improved. I think there's definitely more people watching it. For me, I think there needs to be more exposure and media coverage the lead up to the games, because I think we're just spoken about once every 4 years, whereas like the general public don't realise we're competing in European championships, world championships, and sometimes they're like on your doorstep.
Yeah.
So yeah, people don't realise like the hard graft we're doing in those 4 years. So I think if there was more exposure during those times, it would be better, instead of just like, oh, there's another games in 2028 and then that's the only time we get exposure or media coverage.
Yeah. I mean, the able-bodied fighters, they get more exposure between then, do they? And then with the Paralympians less.
I feel so, yeah.
Yeah, and that's a shame, isn't it? Because, I mean, if you think about any of the best finals you've ever watched, there's normally, the reason people really get invested into them is kind of the backstory behind people, isn't it? And you know, when you're at the Paralympian Games, have I said that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that everyone's got a massive backstory behind their journey as well. So it's way more engaging. It's just they need to pick up on that, and they need to let people know.
Yeah, I think so. I think, yeah, some Paralympic athletes I've spoken to, like what they've overcome is like unbelievable. Like, and then they're still going on a world stage and they're trying to navigate the world as a disabled individual and they're still smashing it. So yeah, I think it should be spoken about a lot more.
Definitely. I mean, even yourself, I mean, because you're, absolutely, if you couldn't see your arm, you wouldn't even notice. Do you know what I mean? Anything that's, any type of disability. So, and obviously now you're a grown woman and you've been through a lot of hardship and fighting and wins and losses, and you've come up on top, and that's great. But did it always feel like that when you were younger, when you were growing up and you had one arm, if you don't mind me asking? What was that like as a child to process that and then to
be honest, I think it was easier as a kid. I think it's worse as I've got
really?
an adult. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think as a child, you just crack on and you've got no fear. I think the way I was brought up, like my dad's ex-military, so very strict. He did sort of parent me very differently to my sister. He was sort of, I've spoke to him as an adult and he just said he had to be cruel to be kind. If I did need assistance with anything, like for example, when I was a kid, I was like, oh, Dad, please, can you tie my shoelaces? And he's like, no, do it yourself. And I can remember he got me like a little plastic shoe and I had to sort of teach myself how to do it and stuff like that. But I said to him, why were you like that with me? And he was like, well, if I'd done it for you when you were 2-3 years of age, I still would have been doing it for you when you were 18. So he's like, I had to be harsh with you.
Yeah.
So I've always had that sort of cutthroat approach with my dad.
But yeah, be cruel to be kind. And it's paid off.
Yeah.
But you're glad he was like that now? Or was it noticeable when you were younger, obviously, if you'd had to speak about it then when you're older?
I think, obviously, my dad, it has helped me.
Yeah.
But I think I also probably needed the well done and proud of you as well, I think.
Yeah.
Because sometimes it's a bit too much, because then you doubt yourself and it's like I'm trying to prove myself and then him and everyone wrong. So it can be quite challenging.
It must have gave you some drive though. That might be part of,
Yeah.
The proving yourself definitely, is they say overachievers, that's what they call people that are just never happy with what they've done.
Yeah.
Even though they're doing tremendous things consistently, but it never feels like it, does it? You feel like you're all still underselling yourself and you're not quite there.
Yeah.
And so if there's a bit of that there, do you think?
Definitely.
Yeah, and so it's great for the end result, but it's not great for the journey sometimes, is it, the way you feel? Because you do feel inadequate, like you're not, not getting there. You find that with a lot of athletes,
Yeah, you definitely do. And sometimes it's like you need to be a bit more present and like celebrate your success, because I think we're all quick to achieve something and then it's like rushing, what's the next thing? So yeah, I'm getting better at that. I think I'm happy with what I've achieved, and I'm not in a rush to chase anything else really at the moment.
That's
obviously,
really good. So you're enjoying the process as well as
yeah, definitely. I think that's been a long time coming for me. I think sometimes you are very outcome driven and it doesn't go well. So I'm definitely a lot more trust the process driven now.
When you're outcome driven as well, have you noticed? I spoke to someone else about this on one of the other podcasts the other day. You when you win, that's just normal. And when you lose, it's terrible.
Yeah.
It's like you have to just win just to be okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's expected. And then when you don't, it's like terrible.
Yeah.
There's no real positive side. It's either normal or down. Rather than actually, taking a step back and celebrating what you've done. I mean, you will do when you stop fighting and you've stopped for a few years and you reflect back, then you'll appreciate yourself. But it's good if you can do it kind of while you're doing it as well.
I know.
Yeah. So what's the plan moving forwards then from now?
So my plan at the moment is I'm still an athlete, still on the world class program. I'm going to qualify for LA, which will be 2028.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah.
So that'll be my third Paralympic Games. So what?
So 3 years, yeah, 3 years.
Yeah, it is,
that
isn't
right?
it?
Yeah. So it'll be the summer. It's normally about summertime, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you've got just over 3 years. So what will your training camp for that consist of then? Will you go full time for like a year or two?
Oh, I'll be full time for like the whole time because like there's no like off season because we compete all year round. So I'll hit the major championships, so like world championships. So that'll secure me ranking points in order to qualify for the Paralympic Games.
Yeah, people don't realise in the Olympics and the Paralympics, like when you get there, to get there, the journey is unbelievable. Like you have to win the nationals, you have to win the worlds or get placed, and you have to win the Europeans or whatever it might be, and you're fighting these same fighters. It's like it's the same fighters in the Olympics and Paralympics than you would have fought in the World Championships.
Yeah,
same referees as well sometimes, isn't it? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, you're right in what you're saying. That is what happens. But yeah, it just depends who the best person is on the day, and it's like you just need to maximise your majors because that's where the biggest points are. Sometimes we've had athletes that might not have qualified for a Paralympics or an Olympics based on a couple of points, which is so disheartening. So yeah, you need to smash the big ones.
And you see people that can perform and win at all the other ones, and then all of a sudden on the Olympics, for some reason, because the spotlight and the magnitude of the event, don't perform.
Yeah.
If you
it's like the best fighters in the world, and it's like, again, it probably does come down to mindset because they haven't got a bad athlete overnight. It's not like the Taekwondo abilities disappeared. So yeah, it's clearly the mindset or the pressure you're putting on yourself.
Lack of self-worth and a deeper level, thinking you're not kind of worthy of it. Self-sabotage.
Could be anything, even like the crowd. Like Paris was absolutely amazing. It was a massive crowd. The venue, I don't know if you've seen it, it was at the Grand Palais. It was absolutely stunning. That was a loud venue and there was a lot going on. So if you're not familiar to that can be very distracting if you're not used to it as well. So yeah. Or
if you like it, it could buzz you up and help you give you the performance of your life, couldn't it?
Yeah.
Which one do you prefer?
I don't mind either way.
Yeah.
I don't mind either way. Like, don't get me wrong, it was amazing to have that crowd support. We don't get it all the time. But for me on the day, like I blocked all of that out because I was too focused. So I didn't even engage with the crowd.
Did you not? So you're there anyway. You've got a job to do.
Yeah,
variables,
literally.
You're not going to that's a good mature way of of approaching things.
I'm always aware of my surroundings though. So if I'm in a match, I know where people are sat within the stands. I can hear everything my coach is saying, so I'm aware of it.
Oh, you are? That's good. You don't get tunnel vision then, because some people just don't listen, do they? And they've got tunnel vision. I mean, that's quite an amateur kind of mindset to have. But yeah, it's like a multi-sensory experience where you're kind of focusing
There's a lot going
you're listening to, you're watching the refs, you understand, even just being aware of where the area is as well at the same time and all the different...
It's so true. I don't think people realise, like, when you are doing a combat sport, it's like you've got a crowd, you've got the referee, you've got your coach feedback, you've also got someone kicking you, which I used to forget. It's like, I've got to deal with what they're doing, not just focusing on my plan. So yeah, there's a lot of information going on at the same time.
Yeah, absolutely. So you've been hurt when you've been fought in the events? Have you been hurt badly or
No,
not?
touch wood.
Have you not? Have you ever knocked anyone out in any of your fights?
Oh, TAGB, yeah.
Did you?
Yeah.
Tell me.
Yeah. Where was I? I was in Holland, ended up doing a jumping back kick to some girl's throat. That was hilarious.
Oh, gosh.
It was only, well, it
Throat.
wasn't. It was bad because I
Yeah.
was nervous. And then like one of like the coaches at the time was like, oh, well, she's gone to hospital. If she dies, at least she got a medal. I'm like, I was only a teenager. I was like, don't say that.
Oh, no.
And then when I first transferred over to WT, again, I think I was at a competition. I don't know if it was Germany, Holland, can't remember. Got to the final and I was like buzzing. And then bang, I've like hit someone square in the face, got disqualified in the final. And I'm like, forgot about that.
Oh, because you're not long converted, is that why?
So
muscle memory, innit? It's not your fault.
it. It's a hard habit to break. But yeah.
Yeah, you're allowed to hit the body, aren't you?
Yeah.
But you have to hit really hard, don't you? And
Yeah, so like depending on your weight category,
Yeah.
with the electronic system, you've got to hit the pad at a certain threshold in order to register a point. So sometimes you might hit it and it might flash, but it won't register the full point because you've got to hit it at a certain threshold.
And you get lesser a point for a punch than you do for the kicks.
So in Olympic Taekwondo, if you do a clean punch to the body, it's 1 point, but in Para Taekwondo, it actually doesn't score.
Oh, does it not?
No, because
okay.
People don't have the limbs really to do the
fair
punching
one.
like I do, but I'll use it for a tactical point of view.
Yeah, you can set up as well, can't you? You can
Exactly.
you can push them back and you
Yeah.
can set a kick,
Yeah.
nice kick up, especially if you're from your background as well.
Yeah.
There's probably a lot of layups you would be doing.
Definitely.
Is that correct?
Yes. So I've recently been awarded it. So I got to go to Windsor Castle and it was King Charles that actually awarded me with my MBE.
Amazing. So tell me a bit about that then and what you got it for.
So it was in November. I actually got a phone call to say, have you received like your invitation? I was like, nope. So basically they'd sent it to the wrong address. So it was to say that I'd been nominated for an MBE and that I was going to be on the New Year's honours list. So obviously I then said, yeah, that I accept the award. And it was my services to Taekwondo. So the people who had nominated me, I don't know 100% who it was. I know it was multiple people. It was basically what I've done historically within the sport and obviously my Paralympic gold as well. So yeah, it was my services to Taekwondo.
That's amazing. What was the king like?
I've actually met him a couple of times before. I don't think he knows too much about Taekwondo, so I'd met him the year before in Buckingham Palace because we had a reception and he was like, oh, so what's Taekwondo? Is it just breaking boards then? And I was like, not really. But so yeah, it was really good to meet him. He was just asking about how many people in the UK do Taekwondo and is it a popular sport, and just congratulated me on my success.
So the formalities of that must have been quite strict, was it? With what you had to wear, how to stand, how you have to behave.
Yeah.
Was it quite nerve-wracking and a bit starstruck to see the king, or was you pretty cool with it all?
I was pretty cool with it, to be honest. I think it's common sense, like how you should dress and present yourself going into places like that. The only thing I was a little bit nervous about, they literally tell you 5 minutes before that you need to curtsy. And I was thinking, how do I do that? So I was in the queue, like practicing. But no, it all went really well.
You have to curtsy to the king as well, do you? Because I know you had to to the queen. I wasn't sure the formalities of that.
Yeah, so it was a curtsy or you were like bow your head. So,
one or the other, give you a choice. Which one did you do?
Little curtsy.
Did you?
Yeah.
I thought bows pretty standard in Taekwondo, anyway, isn't it?
But I thought,
I want to give him something that's slightly different. Brilliant. So is it just the king? Who else was there from royalty? Was he the main one? That was
no, it was just him. Yeah.
Was it? Well, that's enough, isn't it?
I know, definitely.
And what was the Windsor Castle like?
Yeah, it was absolutely stunning. I've never been before. The weather was beautiful. So yeah, it was lovely. It was a nice little reception, yeah.
I'm looking forward to kind of watching your progression then when you get into your camp and watching some of the, your fights as you build up for the next Olympics in 2028.
Yeah.
So with you on there then, is there going to be the other 3 or 4 Paralympians that you just mentioned earlier?
Yes, so they'll be training and their aim is to obviously qualify for LA as well. So
and with that then, so once you're in the team like that, is that set you're in or not, or is that just the start of it and you might well not make it to the Olympics?
Yeah, obviously, anyone that's on the team, you do have to prove yourself. You do have to, be medaling consistently in major championships in order to go to a game. So yeah, that's obviously your time to smash it and prove yourself, I suppose.
Yeah, got you. And do you teach at all?
Yeah, so that's the space I'm actually in at the moment. I used to actually have my own TAGB club, but I had to stop running that because I became a world-class athlete. However, I'm now in a space where I want to develop myself as a coach. So I'm athlete mentoring in 2 schools at the moment, and I'm doing lots of like Taekwondo seminars. So yeah, I'm just trying to manage coach life and athlete life because my retirement plan is to become a full-time coach. So I'm just like upskilling myself any way that I can at the moment.
Yeah. So full-time coach or instructor. So like coaching fighters or to have a grassroots level club or a bit of both.
So that's obviously a decision I would have to make. But I'm just getting experience in all areas at the moment. So I need to make a decision, you know, would I want to do it at more of an elite level or would I want to do it sort of at a grassroots level? But I suppose grassroots, I do have a traditional background in 2 styles of Taekwondo. And it's like, for me, I'm aware not everyone wants to be Olympic or Paralympic champion.
Yeah.
People do Taekwondo and martial arts for so many different reasons. And for me, like when I've coached before, the fact that a kid might have got bullied at school and now they've got the confidence to go to Taekwondo 2 hours a week is massive for me. So if I can support someone that way, that's just amazing, isn't it? So
absolutely. Well, you have to read my book. It's got it's how to grow your martial arts school. And also, because what you said there, they are very different things, but you can do both. I mean, I did both. I grew at schools and I had lots of students because that's your bread and butter, and you cast your nets wider to a bigger audience. Like you said, you're not trying to train Olympians at this stage. You just want to get little Johnny to get some confidence or get some structure to his week and start coming to training a couple of times a week. But then you build them up and then you introduce some of them to tournaments and then they go to tournaments and then you develop an elite squad and then those guys, we get them to sign contracts and they train separately as well. They do the regular classes and then we take them to all the big events. And then out of those, you skim the very top ones. They're going for GB. And this is what I did as well. But you can do it better if you've got hundreds of students to pick from, then you're going to have more people that you can possibly mentor yourself and bring through. But that's building them at grassroots level yourself and bringing them through. When if you just wanted to do elite ones, you're going to have to get them from somewhere else, aren't you? Is that what the plan would be if you were doing that? Or
it's a big plan, isn't it? So it's just like something that I need to really think of. But yeah, I'm just in the process of developing myself, and then when I get closer to retirement, I need to fully commit to that decision then and just reach out for support from people, obviously like yourself, that have got that experience. I need, athlete and coach life, it's just a different space, so it's a different thing altogether.
Or a job at Manchester at the main place, because they've got it so organised, the Taekwondo.
Like ideally, I do see myself a role model as para Taekwondo, so there's nothing stopping me if we did have the number of athletes to help with the development of up and coming para athletes.
It might be a little job you can squeeze in there then.
Possibly, yeah.
Make sure you get gold on the next one. Then. And then definitely there's no reason why not, is there?
It, isn't it?
Well, you were the first one to pave the way with getting funding for it, so why not? Then how many potentials are there, do you think, out there that could possibly do it that just don't know? That's
the thing. I think sometimes people, especially, like, they don't realise para Taekwondo is an opportunity for them. So we are like in the process at the moment to try and sort of recruit up and coming athletes. So we have got like an initiative at the moment where, because we do have funded spots at the moment for full-time Paralympic athletes.
That's amazing. But you just don't have the athletes to
so we're in the process and like we found some potentials. But yeah, if anyone's out there who's got one arm that wants to kick people, drop me a message and I can point you in the right direction.
Mad, isn't it? So the funding's there, but then the people aren't there. That is just awareness then, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, that's literally
more people doing it.
Yeah, that's literally all it is. We just need to get the word out there and just see if it's something somebody's interested in and we can, help facilitate a journey or a pathway into the para program.
So I wonder if they do a separate recruitment program for that, like they did there when they did the fighting chance one, when they started just growing the regular squad.
Yeah.
If you look at, there's a lot of sports now that were kind of minority sports as well that are doing a lot. But before, traditionally, it was just all the main sports, football, boxing, dominated by men.
Yeah.
And now you look at women's football and how that's gone. And then the Paralympics now, they were nothing like that 20 years ago. Like the ceremonies and the size of it is matched by the Olympics. It's the same. Is that right? Is it the same type of presentation, or is it more scaled down? Because I think there's probably more sections, isn't there, in the Paralympics?
Yeah, there's probably more categories. There's more classifications as well. But I think Paris, that was like the biggest viewing they've ever had for a Paralympic Games.
What was the views on that?
I've got no idea, but it was released the other day. But I think it was probably the best.
And were the stadiums full enough?
Yes. yeah, the Taekwondo one was like, my event had sold out like months before, because like people were messaging me, oh, have you got tickets? I'm like, I'm in the middle of training for a Paralympic Games. One, don't message me.
Yeah.
They were out 3 months ago, so why are you trying to get them like a couple of days? Or
we're trying to get freebies.
It's like, it's like people like last minute, but yeah, I had the opportunity to go and watch one event while I was out in Paris. So I went to watch like some of the athletics, and that stadium was full as well. So it was amazing.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, sounds amazing. Well, thank you very much for your time today. It's been really, really interesting speaking to you and getting to know you while we've been speaking as well, and actually meet you face to face. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. It's really good. Thank you.
Great. Cheers.